Alright gang, I'm going to make a video to help you out so you can do really well on the Mod 18 quiz. Alright, here we go. Okay, first one, we're going to find the volume of this prism. So the volume is always the area of the base times the height. So the area of the base looks like it's a rectangle, so it's going to be 7.3 times 10.5 and then times the height, which looks like it is 16.8. Alright, and we multiply all those together. So let me do that. So 7.3 times 10.5 times 16.8. Okay, I got 1287, and because it's feet times feet times feet, it's 1287.72, and that's feet cubed, cubic feet. Oops, check that one. Yeah, so, it looks like it was, well, it didn't say it around something, so. All right, the next one, it's a triangular prism, and so we need to find the area of the base, which is this triangle here, and then we multiply it by the height, which is right there. So we're going to do volume equals, we know that the area of a triangle is 1/2 times the base times the height. So this looks like a little right triangle. So it's 1/2 times the base, which is 30 centimeters, and then times the height, which is 20 centimeters. And then we would multiply that by the height of the prism, which is 14. So multiply all those together, see what we get. So I'm going to do 30 times 20 times 14, and then I'll do times 0.5. So I get 4,200 cubic centimeters. All right, next one, it is a cylinder. So it looks like the 28 millimeters is the diameter, so I'm going to say the radius would be 14. So the volume of a cylinder is the area of the base times the height. Well, the area of the base is a circle, so it's pi r squared. So it's pi times 14 squared, so that right there is the area of the base, times the height, which is 30, and then we just multiply those together. So I'm going to get a decimal approximation for this one. So I could multiply the 14 times the 14, so I could do 14 squared times 30, and then I could list it like this. I could say equals, and I could do 5880, and then I could just leave the pi in there, and that is cubic millimeters. Or I can say it's approximately, and I can multiply that by pi. So pi times 5880, and that gives me 18,472, and let's say rounding, it just depends what you want to round to. Let's say this one I round to the nearest tenth, so let's say 0.6, and that's cubic millimeters. Okay, so it just depends. This is an exact answer, this one here, with pi. And then we also have the ability to just multiply by pi and get a decimal approximation. All right, this is a composite figure, so we have kind of two things together. We have the prism on the bottom, and then we have the cylinder on the top. So we'll just follow the directions on this one. So find the volume of the rectangular prism. So that's going to be just our normal volume equals, oh, it's not letting me write on this thing for some reason. There we go. So volume equals, it's going to be the area of the base which is 9 times 4, and then times the height, which is 5. So we multiply those together, that should be 180. So this is 180. Then the volume of the cylinder to the nearest tenth. So the cylinder is pi r squared. So it looks like the radius is shown there. So that's pi r squared. And then times the height. So we'll type all that in. So that would be 2 squared times 3 times pi. So that is, to the nearest tenth, that would be 37.7. And then what's the total volume? We just add those together. So just add those. So that would be 200, I would say 217, and then 0.7. Let's see what this person got. They didn't show the work on that, okay. All right, next we have the volume of a pyramid. So on this one, we do the area of the base times the height, but then we have to multiply by 1/3 because it goes to a point, so it has less volume than if it was like straight up like that. So we're going to do volume equals 1/3. The area of the base, it's a square, so we're just going to multiply 15 times 15, and then we're going to multiply by the height, which is 19. All right, so let's do that. So that would be 15 times 15 times 19. Now I'm going to multiply by 1/3, or I'm going to actually divide by 3. That's the same as multiplying by 1/3. I'm dividing by 3. So I got 1425, and that's cubic inches. Okay, the next one looks like it's a square pyramid, but this time it's a little bit different in that they gave us this. This is a slant height, it's 13. You have to picture a right triangle here. So we need to actually figure out what the height is. So we make a nice little right triangle. If this is 10 all the way across, then that means this little part here would be 5. So we do a little Pythagorean theorem. So we got h squared plus 5 squared equals 13 squared. So we have h squared plus 25 equals 169. H squared equals 144. When we subtract the 25, take the square root, h is 12. So now that we have the height, pardon me, we have 1/3, and then the area of the base, which is 10 times 10, and then times our height, which we now figured out is 12. So this is 12 now, and we just multiply those together. So let me do that. So 10 times 10 times 12, and then we're going to divide that by 3, which is the same as multiplying by 1/3. So that's 400, that's cubic inches. All right, we have another composite figure. So we just figure out the volume of the rectangular prism, and then we add the volume of the pyramid, square pyramid. Okay, so let's do the parts at a time. So let's do the prism first. So volume of the prism. Okay, volume of the prism is just area of the base times the height, so that's 12 times 12 times 12. So see what that is. So 12 times 12 times 12. That is 1728. And then let's find the volume of this square pyramid. Okay, and remember that one is the 1/3. So it's 1/3 times the area of the base, which again, the base is just a square. So it's 12 times 12, and then times the height, which is given. So that's 18. So we're going to do 12 times 12 times 18, and then we're going to divide that by 3. So that's 864. We're going to add those two together. So we're going to add this one, and then we're going to add this one. So the two added together, let's see, 864 plus 1728, that is 2592, and that is what? Cubic centimeters. All right, looks like this one, we got a couple of pyramids, just kind of one going up, one going down. So we're just going to use the same formula. So we're going to do volume equals 1/3 the area of the base, which is just a square. So it's just going to be 5.7 times 5.7, and then times the height, which is 3. So let's do that. So we're going to have 5.7 times 5.7 times 3, and then I'm going to divide that by 3. So that's 32.49. Now that would be this pyramid, but I have another one that's the exact same dimensions below. So I'm just going to add those together. So I'm going to have 32.49 times 2, or just add another one of those, same thing. So 32.49 plus 32.49 equals 64.98, and that's cubic millimeters. All right, we're on to cones. So cones are really similar to pyramids because they have that 1/3, they go to a point. So we're going to do 1/3 the area of the base times the height. So volume equals, it's going to be 1/3 area of the base, it's a circle, so it's just pi r squared. So it's going to be pi and then times the radius, so 1.9 squared, and then times the height, this one's given, so that's 4.2. All right, so I'm going to do all that. I'm going to get the volume. I'm going to do the approximate on this. So I'm going to do the pi button times 1.9 squared times 4.2. And then I'm going to divide that by 3. So I got about 15 point, I'm going to round it to the nearest tenth, so I'm going to say 15.9. That's going to be cubic millimeters. All right, another cone. So it looks like this one, they're sort of pointing towards the middle. So I would say the radius would be half of that. So it'd be 12. So we're going to do the same formula. We're going to do volume equals 1/3 and the area of the base, which is pi r squared. So it's going to be pi. The radius is 12, so 12 squared, and then times the height, which is 30. So let's do that. So we're going to do pi times 12 squared times 30, and then we're going to divide by 3. So that gives 4523.9, and that is cubic inches. Cubic inches. All right, 4523.9. Or exact would be this 1440 pi. If you just multiply all the numbers together and then you leave the pi in the answer. All right, next one is also a cone. So compare the volumes of a right cone and oblique cone. We're gonna say that they have the exact same height, same height, same volume, because all the cross sections are the same. Cross sections meaning each of these parts, if we kept, showing each of these cross sections on the way up, they would all be the same with each of these figures, so they have the same volume. I'll give this one as well a little more explanation. All right, so we're on to the last one, spheres. So volume of a sphere. So volume is 4/3 pi r cubed. So this one gives us the radius. So it's 4/3 pi. The radius is 3, so 3 cubed. So volume is approximately, so we're going to type all that in. So we're going to do pi times 3. I'll find the cubed button. It's under math, and then you can go down to number 3 on the nice calculators. And then, let's see, then I'm going to do times. So I don't think I have the fraction thing on my phone. So I'm probably going to need to multiply by 4 first, and then I'm going to divide by 3. Okay, so I got 113, hopefully I'm good, 113.1, and I'm going to say that is cubic feet. Let's see how close I am here. 113.1, or 36 pi. Let's see what that is. 36 times pi. Tell me that's 113.1. Yes. Okay, so we're good. In good shape there. All right. All right, so now we have another composite shape here. So we have a cylinder, and then we have half a sphere on this side. We got half a sphere on this side. So really all we need to do is find the volume of the cylinder and then add the volume of a sphere, because we got half and half, which equals the whole sphere. So first the cylinder. So let's do, excuse me, I'm getting sick. All right, so we have cylinder plus sphere. Okay, the cylinder is going to be pi r squared h. So it's going to be pi, the radius, you can see it right here, is 2. So 2 squared times the height. The height's right here, it's 5. And then plus the sphere, so we need that formula, so that's 4/3 pi. The radius is 2. So that's 2, and that's cubed. All right, so we just do the math on this. So I'm gonna do probably decimal approximation on this one. So pi times 2 squared times 5. I get 62.83. And then on the other part, I've got 4 divided by 3 times pi times 2 cubed. This one I get 33.51. I'm going to add that with the 62.83 about. Okay, so I got about 96.3. So hopefully I'm pretty good there. About. All right, let's see what I got. 96.3 is about what I got. Okay, so hopefully we're good there. And that was an exact answer, so I'll include that. right, next we have a cone and a half a sphere. All right, so the cone is going to be, so let's do cone, and then we'll do hemisphere, which is a half a sphere, okay? Hopefully I can spell hemisphere. There we go. All right, cone is going to be volume equals 1/3. It's going to be pi r squared. So pi, looks like the radius is 5. And then it looks like on this one they did not give us the height. So you have to do the Pythagorean theorem again. I'm going to tell you that it's 12. So when you do the Pythagorean theorem, you get 12, or you remember a Pythagorean triple, which is a really common triple, 5, 12, 13. So this is 12 for the height. All right, now the hemisphere is 5. This is 5. This is 5. The radius is 5, okay? So we're going to do 4/3. Well, let me back that up. We're going to do 4/3 pi r cubed. So r is 5. But remember, it's half a sphere. So we're either going to divide that by 2, or we're going to multiply by 1/2 out in front. We're going to add these two together. So I think I'm going to let the next page do that. So we'll have the same answer. Okay, so this one, this person did the cone the same way, so 100 pi. They left the pi in there. The sphere, you can see they did the 4/3 pi r cubed and then multiplied by 1/2. So they got this. I'm okay with you doing some decimal approximations and getting a really nice total here. All right. All right, last couple. So we have the volume of the prism, and then we have the hemisphere on the top. All right, so let's do the prism. So prism first. So the volume of prism is going to be the area of the base times the height. So it's going to be 10. No, let me back that up. Do it official here. So volume equals, it's going to be 10 times 7 times 4. All right, so that should be, what, 280? So that'll be 280, that's cubic centimeters. And then we have the hemisphere. So the hemisphere is going to be the 4/3 pi r cubed. It looks like the radius is 3. Remember, it's half a sphere, so it has to have that 1/2 in front. So we're multiplying by 1/2. All right. Okay, so when we do this, I'm going to let the next page do the rest of the work. So we get the prism, 280. We get the half a sphere. You can see the 1/2 in front. We get 18 pi. We add those together. We get this decimal approximation, 336.5 cubic centimeters. All right, I added this problem at the end because there's one like this on the test. This was from the notes. So this is a cylinder, and then they take out a cone shape. So all you have left is this much. So the question is, what's the volume that's left? So you have to figure out the volume of the cylinder, remember? And then you actually have to subtract the volume of the cone. So on the next page, it shows all the work. So we have the volume of the cylinder is pi times r squared. So r is 1.8 because it's half of this diameter, so 1.8. So pi r squared and then times the height, which is given. You get this. And then for the cone, it's 1/3 pi r squared times the height. So you get this, and you subtract them. So then you get 29.2, as we got when we talked about it in the notes. So you definitely have one like that on your Mod 18 quiz. All right, so if you know how to do all these, you've actually memorized all of the formulas because you don't get any on the quiz. Sorry about that. You should do great. All right, good luck. Buena suerte. Oops, do I know how to spell luck? Hopefully. Okay, good luck. Vamos.